Imagine living your entire life as if you were a guest in your own existence, always apologizing, always stepping aside, always shrinking so others could feel bigger. You breathe, you work, you survive, but deep inside, you believe the world would not notice if you disappeared. This is what life feels like when self-worth is missing. Not dramatic pain, just a quiet erasure of the self. And for many, this silent loss is far more dangerous than visible failure. In a crowded industrial town surrounded by factories and smoke lived a young man named Arman. He worked as a night security guard at a warehouse near the railway tracks. His job was simple: sit, watch, and stay quiet. In many ways, it suited him, because Arman had learned early in life that being unseen was safer than being judged. Arman grew up in a house where voices were loud and love was conditional. His father believed strength meant dominance. His teachers believed intelligence meant speaking fast and confidently. Arman had ideas, thoughts, questions, but they stayed trapped inside him. Every time he tried to speak, his heart raced as if danger were near. Over time, silence became his armor. At work, people ignored him. Day shift workers talked over him. Supervisors never asked his opinion. Once, during a safety meeting, Arman noticed a serious flaw in the warehouse wiring. He knew it could cause a fire. But when he raised his hand halfway, his confidence collapsed. What if they laugh? What if I'm wrong? He lowered his hand. 2 weeks later, a small fire broke out. No one was hurt, but the guilt burned inside him for months. Arman began to believe a painful lie: I exist, but I don't matter. One rainy night, during his shift, an old train mechanic named Yusuf came to the warehouse to inspect equipment. Unlike others, Yusuf spoke slowly and listened carefully. When Arman offered him tea, Yusuf looked at him and said, "You stand like someone who's always ready to apologize." Arman laughed nervously. "I guess that's better than causing trouble." Yusuf shook his head. "No. That's how people disappear while still alive." Those words unsettled Arman. Over the next few nights, Yusuf returned. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they sat in silence. One night, Yusuf asked, "Tell me, what do you fear most?" Arman hesitated, then whispered, "Being wrong. Being seen. Taking up space." Yusuf nodded. "Then that is exactly what you must practice." From that night on, Yusuf gave Arman challenges, not heroic ones, but uncomfortable ones. The first challenge: speak one complete sentence without apologizing. Arman failed twice. On the third attempt, he managed. His voice shook, but he felt something shift. The second challenge: correct someone respectfully, even if your voice trembles. When a supervisor misread a report, Arman quietly corrected him. The room didn't collapse. No one laughed. In fact, the supervisor thanked him. The third challenge was the hardest: make a decision and stand by it. One night, Arman stopped a delivery truck from entering the warehouse due to safety concerns. The driver shouted. Management questioned him. His hands shook, but he didn't retreat. Later, inspections proved Arman right. Something inside him changed, not suddenly, not dramatically, but permanently. Weeks passed. Arman began walking differently, standing differently, speaking with pauses instead of panic. People started listening, not because he became louder, but because he stopped doubting his right to exist. Months later, Arman was promoted. But more importantly, he began mentoring new guards, especially the quiet ones. Fear doesn't mean stop, he told them. It means grow. Years later, when the warehouse expanded into a major logistics center, Arman was asked to lead safety operations. The man who once believed he was invisible now protected hundreds of lives through his decisions. One evening, he visited Yusuf's old workshop, only to find it closed. A neighbor told him Yusuf had passed away peacefully. On the door, taped carefully, was a note. Confidence is not about proving strength. It's about honoring your presence. Take space. The world adjusts. This story is not about becoming fearless. It's about becoming honest with yourself. Fear will always whisper, But it loses power the moment you stop obeying it. If you've spent your life shrinking, let this be your reminder. You are allowed to speak. You are allowed to decide. You are allowed to take space. You are not late. You are not weak. You are unfolding. If this story reached you, pass it on. Someone else may still be standing quietly in the corner, waiting for permission to exist.